Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm your host Chris Davis, and today we're going to do a manga chapter review. This is of the Minato one-shot manga. Now, the reason why Kishimoto is doing a Minato one-shot manga chapter is because there's a popularity poll done about who would like to see a one-shot chapter written about, and Minato won the contest with a landslide, and so Kishimoto's writing a chapter, writing a one-shot of Minato. So I love this colored page, this front cover right here. We see the four and five tails. Uh, they're facing down Team Jiraiya. We see Jiraiya, Minato, and Minato's two other teammates. They're about to be blasted by a Bijudama, but Minato is able to get them out of there with a flying Raijin. We then cut to Kushina. She's having nightmares. Kurama is trying to emotionally manipulate her, gaslight her, and to getting her to release him so he can wreak havoc on the village and like be free. We see in this chapter of Kushina's life when she's like asleep. She's tormented by Kurama, and when she's awake, she's a prisoner. So as you see here, she has these Ambu guards watching her. She's in this spiral tower. We see the butterfly when she opens the window, and her freedom's restricted because the Nine Tails is inside of her, and they can't risk either her getting captured or the Nine Tails being released. And the guards keep reiterating the same line to her, saying she can't go outside the barrier. Uh, she goes to meet with Minato because she plans to teach him more sealing jutsu today, but Minato's working on a different jutsu, so he just tells her that he has to train with her some other time. We see that Minato, he's popular with the ladies. Other girls like him, and that makes Kushina upset. So she tries to go after Minato, follow him, but she can't go outside the barrier. Other people can freely walk through and out that barrier, but Kushina can't because she's a Jinchuriki. So we see that her freedom is restricted within the village. She's the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. She's a military asset to the village. She can also be a serious liability if Nine-Tails gets out. So those Ambu guards are watching her at all times. So we get a flashback with Kushina and I'm trying to remember her name. It's the first Hokage's wife. I can't believe I'm drawing a blank. Uzumaki Mito. I could be saying her name wrong, but we're having a flashback of when Kushina meets with the first Hokage's wife, and this is how Kushina becomes the Nine Tails Jinchuriki. Mito Uzumaki puts seals the Nine Tails inside of Kushina. So she teaches Kushina how to live as a Jinchuriki, even though the Nine Tails uh, is a burden. Having it inside of her is a burden. She says she can still get through life, even with the Nine Tails' hatred, by filling up her heart and her soul with love. So as she thinks about that, she uses her stealing chains and she's able to bind the Ambu guards and she's able to escape the barrier. She is hesitant at first because she is afraid that Kurama will break free, but she's able to suppress him and keep going. Again, he's trying to manipulate her into setting him free. We see Minato and Jiraiya working on their new jutsu, and it's really good to see bonding time between Jiraiya and Minato. And then we see that the jutsu they're creating is the Rasengan. Uh, and so when Minato first creates it, he comes up with a ridiculous name for it, and uh, I guess that's his thing. He doesn't know how to name jutsu or name things in general. He comes up with these silly, outlandish names, and everyone has to tell him that his naming has bad taste. Kushina, she was able to escape that barrier, and she uh, meets up with Minato at the training ground. And Minato asks her, what is she doing without the Anbu guards outside the barrier? And Kushina makes up an excuse. Well, she lies and says that Lord Third gave her special permission, but he didn't. She escaped. And she saw the jutsu that Minato and Jiraiya made. And basically, Minato explains that he created this jutsu so uh, he could teach it to Kushina so she can protect herself from other Jinchuriki. And then that's when Kurama starts taking over. And then we see with one tail, Minato gets knocked over and he has this big laceration like on his chest. But he's still strong enough to put a sealing jutsu like on Kushina to stop the Nine Tails. And then the Nine Tails Kurama, he says that Minato's sealing jutsu is on the same level as the first Okage. That's impressive because he's not even at. This is when Minato's like a teenager, maybe 16 or something like that, and his sealing jutsu's already at the same level as the first Okage. Just imagine like how powerful he is when he's just fighting out in the third great ninja war. Because in the third great ninja war, he had this do not engage um, order put on him by the Hidden Stone Village, and if he's a teenager and he hasn't even hit his prime and his sealing jutsu's on the level of the first Okage, I mean that's ridiculous. Minato's even more powerful than we ever thought of. Okay, so while Minato is trying to seal the Nine Tails back, Kushina has more memories of Mito Uzumaki. She goes into some Naruto lore about how I guess the Uzumaki have more of affinity for I guess wind release because they're more attuned to the air currents. So that kind of explains why I guess Naruto uh, really had a strong affinity for wind chakra nature because he was an Uzumaki and uh, his father had three changes in chakra nature, wind being one of them, and Kushina, I think one of her chakra natures was wind as well. But as Uzumaki, they're more attuned to the swirling air currents. So Mito Uzumaki is showing Kushina that while she's in this prison, or yeah, it's a prison. Let's not sugarcoat it. This is a prison. While she's in here, she can go up to a place where she can be reminded of love when she's down. So they climb up the spiral staircase. I see Mito looking at the first Hokage, uh, her husband, and that's when Kushina has the resolve to use her adamantium chains to help Minato seal the Nine Tails. But the Nine Tails is getting ready to unleash his Bijudama, and then he regains control. He's breaking out of the adamantium sealing chains, and Kushina becomes she's sprouting eight, nine tails now, and she punches a hole into like Minato or Kurama does, and she tells Minato to run away, but he's not going to run away. Uh, he's Minato has a resolve to protect Kushina and seal the Nine Tails back, and so we see him use the Rasengan, and he's able to match a full Nine Tails Bijudama with just one Rasengan. This is huge. This is what I'm saying, that Minato's more powerful than we could even imagine. Because if you read the Naruto manga or watched the anime, when in Naruto Shippuden, when Naruto was trying to uh, take control of the Nine Tails. He had to use Sage mode, and the Nine Tails is only at 50%. Minato is 16 right now with no Sage mode. And this is a full Nine Tails, 100%. And he matched its Bijudama with his Rasengan. Like, that is wild. We do see that when he's getting ready to slam the Rasengan, um, Kushina is able to regain control of her adamantium chains and help him. But Kushina still, I believe she still did the same thing with Naruto, but that's still at 50% Kurama. So Minato wakes up in the hospital. There is Tsunade and Jiraiya. Tsunade was able to heal him. I just can't get over how overpowered Minato is. He had a laceration on his chest from the Nine Tails, swiping him with his tail. He got punched in the chest, and he's still strong enough to hold that sealing jutsu and use the Rasengan. I mean, he's ridiculously strong. So he's healed from the hospital. They're walking around the village, and uh, they're trying to come up with a name for um, Minato's new jutsu, the Rasengan, but they don't have the name for it yet. So they go up to the spiral tower, and Kushina comes up with a name since the jutsu is made for her to use against other Jinchuriki. She comes up with Rasengan. So this was a really great chapter. Uh, Sorry that I was behind on it. I was doing some other videos, uh, but I like this chapter. I like that we're getting more lore on Minato and Kushina, because that's what everyone's been wishing for ever since they showed Minato with his own team uh, in the Naruto manga and Naruto anime. People, ever since Kishimoto showed him, they wanted more lore about how Minato was brought up. So this has been a long time coming. Fans have wanted this. So that's all we have for today. If you liked what I had to share, please hit the like button, hit subscribe, share this video with all your friends, and all of you have a great day.